Hi, I have a pea brain, so I deleted the good file of this video. And so you're about to basically hear tipsy ramblings about how I feel about CGI. If you guys could do me a favor personally, comment below how you feel. I genuinely want to hear your opinions and just talk about it, you know? And two, I'm trying to figure out my editing style right now. So if you guys like it, tell me, you know, what you like about it, what you think I could add, things like that to improve. I genuinely want to know. But just in case you're confused, the point of this video, well, actually I know you'd be confused because I was confused editing it. The point of this video is just to have a general discussion of if I even enjoy CGI, period, and the different facets of it and exploring it. And we're not exploring the entire category of CGI, but we're at least exploring enough to give me a good opinion of it and how it is used in my day-to-day life of what I see online or in TVs or whatever. So that's what the point is, okay? Just keep that in mind. I feel like I've learned a lot more about CGI that I did not know. Like, CGI is literally just a computer generated image, which literally can apply to 2D dimensions, computer animations, you know, video games, simulators. I'm reading all this off, but you get what I'm trying to say. 3D, obviously graphics, and that's what we usually associated with, or really anything in that category could be CGI as long as it's a computer generated image. So I'm not gonna go deep into like the whole category of CGI. I'm just going with like 3D models, you know what I mean? So let me explain before I go into all of these examples of why I hate it. Question. Why do I keep seeing him and stuff? Is that just me? I'm getting like Brie Larson vibes or Brie Larson flashbacks of like, why are you in this Nintendo commercial? Like, what vibes? Why do I keep seeing him and stuff? I don't know, something about this is freaking me out. Am I alone here? Maybe. I don't like CGI in anime or cartoons and even sometimes movies because sometimes it can just take you out of what's happening. Not all of the time, but a good chunk of the time, especially in cartoons and anime, especially the way people tend to use it.
That's weird.
But I want to save that for like the end of the video. So let's talk about it in movies. Now when CGI is used in movies, usually I tolerate it a lot better. And even in TV shows, like non-animated TV shows, again, it seems to blend a lot better. Let's talk about a show that's solely based on CGI. Love, Death Plus Robots. Now if you haven't seen this show, stop. Why are you watching this trash video? You need to go watch that show now, like actually right now, like go watch it. Like I'll cut you, like go watch it right now. It is so good. It's basically a show filled with shorts of very short CGI animations. They can range in time and whatnot, but they don't really last that long. You can literally binge the entire show in a day, probably less. Also, I'm a little bit over exaggerating. It's not all CGI animations. There are regular animations in there too. There's like live action plus CGI, but a lot of it's just CGI, or a lot of it incorporates CGI in it, and that's why I'm using it as an example. But it's basically like, hey, we're gonna give you a budget to make an animation, here you go. And especially because the show uses so much CGI, that's kind of what you're mainly going to see. And don't get me wrong, there are more elements to it, but I often hear about how bad the animation and CGI is in this show, and I just have to say, are you blind? I can totally understand if you say the shorts suck, because story-wise, and this is what people kind of get confused, I think, story-wise, it's terrible in a lot of different ways. Some of them I'm like, oh, okay, I'm really interested, I like this, and some of them I'm like, okay, when is this gonna end? Like, the story kind of sucks, but the animation, the visuals are just breathtaking. And I hear people shitting on it and shitting on it for the story and then saying the animation is terrible, and I'm like, you're lying, fam. Like, if you're not interested in like like a guy washing up on shore with his dick out, people hanging in his ear, and that's just boring to you. If that is the case, I get it. That's not your cup of tea. But you can't tell me that that body looked terrible, that everything looked terrible, and you just would be lying. You really would just be lying. And that's not the only thing. As I said before, there's movies like literally every Marvel DC movie ever. That's CGI heavy right there. Like, if you think that they just had Thor's hammer like be real and the guy just shot up in the sky and lightning just came down and shocked him and he's just cool, like if you believe that,
stop it. Get some help.
Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's major CGI heavy. Even if you don't like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, even if you don't like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you don't care about comic books like that, you're not a nerd like me and everybody I know. That's understandable, but you can't tell me that shit doesn't look seamless sometimes. There's a lot of different genres of shows and movies that use CGI that enhances the experience, you know? Like, you can't just slap a green screen on everything. You can't make prosthetics and things for everything. Everything can't be in real life, do you know? And it enhances the experience for me because they take the time, because they know if they don't make it look seamless, if they don't make it look like it's connecting to the world, it will take you out of it and you're not going to watch this show. People are very much more harsh when it comes to it in TV shows and non-animated things. And I applaud that because it's made these companies do better when it comes to it. And it made it look less goofy and less fucked up. And don't get me wrong, those moments exist still, but just like that Starbucks cup in Game of Thrones, they don't want that because they don't want to be blasted on Twitter. But let's talk about when they don't. Sonic, sweetheart, are you okay? Let's not try to forget what they did to Sonic. Another one people often pick out and single out, cats, period. There is nothing else. There is no like cats specifically this moment. No, cats, period. End of story. Like, that's it, cats. People had such a problem with this movie and the CGI. First, apparently, which I did not know, they had buttholes on the cats and then they took the buttholes off and then the cats looked weird and then it was just a bunch of there were some cats where I'm like, okay, you look cool, but at one point it's just like, this just feels like they're in clunky, naked skin suits. Like, I don't really enjoy the way the people look. Their faces are blending in with the cat bodies. I'm not here for it. I don't think anybody was here for this. And it just looked off. There were just parts of it that just took you out of like, ugh. And as you can see, I'm using very like obvious examples that we all feel. But to be honest with you, the examples I want to use aren't really set in stone. A lot of them are debatable. Like, first of all, I realized while doing any type of research on this, there were so many CGI shows we had growing up, you know? Like, going into our childhood, there were so many CGI shows that I was like, that I just plumb forgot. And one that actually is really creepy to me and has always been really creepy to me was Jimmy Neutron. That shit freaked me out. Like, there were many episodes where I was like, that doesn't sit right with me, but I didn't want to say shit because I know that, like, those are debatable because to a lot of people, those are your childhood and they were interesting and we all fuck with shows like that. But that shit was creepy to me. I wouldn't say it was terrible, but like it was the same thing as like Sonic, you know. Back at the Barnyard was another one. Genuinely, this is a genuine thing. I had like low-key nightmares about like backyardigans. Something about animals that look scary, and I don't know, something about the way that they looked freaked me out. I don't know how to really explain it. And there are so many other examples of like CGI that, again, when I was a kid, I didn't even think that that's what it was, honestly. I didn't really think about it like that. And people have gotten so good with it that it's not unnatural to have it in like kids shows, even like young kids shows. Like my niece, I always had her watching Doc McStuffins. It's a whole show with CGI. Like there were just so many things that I just didn't even realize were in that category, or I didn't even think about until I really started looking this up. My boyfriend started pointing shit out and I'm like, shut up. I need to finish this video. And while I enjoyed the story and a lot of these things and it was great, I also was freaked out by these things. But also they are kid shows, and you know, kid shows be trying to be very exaggerating when it comes to like features and things like that, and so it's like okay, well obviously this video isn't long enough in my opinion, so let's also talk about CGI influencers. Now, this section isn't going to be very long, nor am I going to harp on this way too much. I just wanted to talk about this a little bit because it does have to do with CGI, and I feel like it's not discussed enough. Now, CGI influencers are kind of new, but they've been around for like a good couple of years now. Like Mil Michaela was one of the first, and she's been around for like back, it was a while ago. I remember hearing Shane Dawson talk about her, and then it just seemed like other influencers of that type started coming out of the woodwork, you know? And while people say that she's the first, I feel like Hatsune Miku was the first, even though she's not technically all CGI. I feel like that brand of like influencer, in the sense of like Instagram, can be accredited to Lil Michaela, but if you just want in general, I feel like back in the day, not that back in the day, I'm not that old, but a while ago, I couldn't think about Hatsune Miku unless she was drawn in fan art or she was CGI dancing of some sort. And maybe that doesn't necessarily count because of so many other reasons, but I feel like if I want to label somebody the first influencer that just happened to be CGI, I would label her before I even think about Lil Michaela, but that's just me. But when it comes to these influencers, again, I can't help but to appreciate the work going into them. And by the way, I'm not saying that even the shitty CGI or animations, that work wasn't put into them. I'm just saying that it's not looking the best. Like I looked at this picture specifically and was like, that's a fucking person. You can't lie to me and tell me that that's anything but a fucking person. And VTubers, look, I don't hate them. I just don't like them. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of y'all, majority of y'all, sound like really great voice actors. Brick wall personalities. Wet cardboard personalities. What personality? Sounds like you have a gun to the back of your head. Someone telling you, be cute or you're dead. It's like a gun to the back of your head, like, fuck. Go ahead. Say the N-word. Nigga. And they technically count as CGI influencers in a way. Sure, the ones on Instagram don't really talk like that, but their characters are technically CGI and they are influencers. I just honestly think no matter how cute an anime you make it, looks uncanny valley. Creepy as fuck to me. But now talking about it, I can actually transition into anime because they're a prime example of the look I'm kind of talking about when I say animation really shouldn't have CGI like that. Okay, getting into the anime aspect of it, this is actually probably the quickest part of this video because it sucks. Like, that's kind of all I have to say is that it sucks. There are few, when I say a few, I mean a fucking few animes that I can see that do CGI pretty well or incorporate CGI in a decent way, like Demon Slayer. When they put CGI into their show, it's seamless, it's nice, and obviously Violet Evergarden, it's seamless, it's nice. Obviously, Attack on Titans, it's sometimes seamless, sometimes it's like, but it's very few to where I can really complain about it all that much, in my opinion. But there are so many out there that are doo-doo trash, and it's like, it's the main reason why I think I hate or dislike CGI in shows and movies, because anime does it so bad, it's confusing, because I realize that we've been so saturated with CGI in our childhoods here in America that's like, it's weird seeing it done so poorly. It's like, it can be done so well, but it's just not. Even going back to Hatsume Miku, she's a good example of it being done decently well. It's not done the best when it comes to her. She still is kind of stiff in the way that she moves, but it's better than what I see a lot of animes do out there, you know? And hell, even just watching the first CGI, I believe it was anime, and first of all, thank you to the person who brought this to my attention. You've given me massive nightmares now. And low-key, not kidding, actually had a bad dream about that. Wasn't necessarily a nightmare, but I was freaked out. And I woke up out of my sleep like, because I hate the way it looked. It's the same thing that happened with Jimmy Neutron and Backyardigans. I'm having like flashbacks to my childhood. They just don't look that good. And oh my god, there are so many more examples. I don't want to make this video super long. But with all the good animes or good looking CGI 3D models, I just don't get it. Hell, let's not even just talk about the anime part in the sense of like animations and stuff like that. Let's just talk about CGI they have in their live action movies. Why? I thoroughly hate live action movies in general. I feel like stop making reboots of shit we've already seen, but like Real Lions and The Lion King, stop. But the live action versions of anime, burn it. Burn it. Like, burn it now. Some of the CGI, the looks, the sounds, the face, all of it is just, I don't want it. And it's just, I just don't understand. While CGI has been in the market and industry for a long time, maybe it's different in Japan and it just hasn't been there or saturated enough to where people don't, like, people can't make it as smooth or even to a certain standard that I'm expecting from, like, what I'm expecting from regular cartoons, as I've shown you before, like Doc McStuffins and shit. Maybe that's what it is, but I just can't get over how I feel. It's the only way I can really explain it, you know? Anyways, that's all I have to say about CGI and whatnot. So thank you for watching. Thank you for hearing my random ramblings. I hope you enjoyed this. Please dislike it if you don't.
We could have been stardust, same world but without us. Something made us find each other out there, made us realize we're more